Hey guys, my name is Bryce, and today I'm doing a video on the Nerf Modulus Mediator. Now, it's definitely not the first time you guys have probably seen this, but I think I'd finally have this arrive in Denmark, and I'd like to give my own personal review on it. This is the entire box, and then this is the Retaliator itself, which is actually, if you compare with the cardboard, longer than the box itself. So this is definitely going to be nice for a more compact package. Now it'll be functioning ideally the same way in terms of having a side-loading magazine. It's called a clip by Nerf, but it is mechanically functioning as a magazine. Now, the reason why I'm also excited about this is that there's two different attachment points to it. Actually, I should probably just slide this out of the box to make my life easier. So, of course, this comes with 6 darts, but now just to cut out the rest of the pieces. I can already tell that the blue is quite different from like a standard Elite blue. It's much more light and not quite a teal, but for those of you who care about colors and everything, there you go. I will personally be painting mine, but it is nice to have a stock blaster that actually matches stuff, so I think unless you get the upgraded version of this, that comes with accessories of a stock and a barrel attachment, it might stand out a little bit from your accessories. Now, next thing to do with the sum assembly required is simply attaching this on. You want to be able to have this thumb piece here, which is orange, actually facing yourself, and actually, yeah, there'll be also docking points here which help you kind of lock this in. But now that we have this all lined up, actually I'm just going to bring this on the ground here. So I'm looking at the ports here, and it looks like the top right one doesn't want to line up. Anyway, I'm going to struggle with it off camera, but just so you know, this is the weirdness that I'm looking at right now. Okay, so I just slammed it in, holds totally fine, so that's great. Now, main thing is that there is a jam door on this side, which is actually quite large, and compares pretty much the same size as the original Retaliator and things like that. But also it's nicest to get a side comparison. This is how much shorter this blaster is. Like, there's going to be a lot less draw on it, and considering that this kind of, I guess, unused space, not necessarily dead space, to prime only goes to here, and then back to fire, whereas with this one, let's prime it. Oh, it sounds a lot louder. That's quite straightforward to do as well, so I think having a more compact size, for me personally, is nice, especially where if you're doing slam fire, it's kind of well equipped for indoor battles and things like that, where you can kind of sneak up on people and not, worry about revving up engines without alerting people. So this could be quite useful even without any attachments at all. And I definitely would upgrade the capacity on the 6 darts. Now when you load it in, first you need to pull this handle back and then insert it where the arrows are facing this way to go inside. It's quite tiny this way, it's very low profile. However, if you use, say for example, an 18 dart mag, if you use something like this, which I probably will intend to use in all honesty, you have a bit of a wing on you. Flies super nice, and I believe there's slam fire. Oh yeah, see, as long as you can make sure you can prime all the way back, then you're good. So that's great. You can definitely hear the ratcheting in this compared to... There's some left. Compared to the Retaliator. So, yeah, interesting kind of see these two side by side, but in any case, if you can handle losing the element of surprise as soon as you go to prime this thing, then I think that's okay. The main thing is just being sneaky with this, or just not caring and just slam firing as quick as you can. But yes, very much like the same good and bad things. I think they're width-wise pretty much identical. They also do the same thing where once you are primed and ready to go, there'll be a priming indicator on the back here. So that will kind of shows, kind of does not actually. That's interesting. But as soon as you go to fire, you'll see that there's no longer like a bit of a plunger in the back or something like that. Also to show you the way that you can actually access the jam area, as soon as you have the handle primed back, you take your finger on this little step here, and you actually just have it click all the way through. And there's slightly less room than I was expecting, but compared to the Retaliator space, and there's only like a moderate amount of difference. So that's info on that. Otherwise, it is nice the fact that you have access to rails on here and on here. In terms of attaching my slightly modified barrel attachment here, let's see how these fresh darts run through. Just with these 6 mag included in here. I imagine most of the barrel attachments you get are going to slightly hinder performance. Not significantly, but just if you do expect high performance and you're new to Nerf, always know that it's just going to, mechanically speaking, slow down your darts as they go to basically leave the spring-powered area. There's just going to be more and more drag ever since there, so try and minimize that. But anyway, so we have it all loaded up. Super easy to load. Nice to actually have that new spring on it. Pull back to, oh, now we're ready. Now I'm showing as a left-handed person, so I should probably fire like a right-handed person now. So primed, and you can see out the entry point here. Yeah, fire is fine. Actually, I'll demonstrate also unloading it. So it's much easier as a right-handed person, I imagine. Personally, I don't really mind, where you just take your thumb and grip onto here to... I kind of do a squeeze, and then with my ring finger and pinky start to pull this out, and then it just releases quite easily. It's almost easier on slightly longer magazines than shorter ones. But anyway, then to detach this, super easy. This particular attachment is not a great example. It does wobble a lot. The retention spring on this is quite weak, so that's just something to acknowledge. But anyway, I think for most general attachments, it'll be nice to have something on the side if you like it cosmetically, and if not, just as a bare basic blaster, having something so tiny is quite great to have. I'm going to be modifying the heck out of stuff around this, so it is kind of like a nice base to have. Also, if you're wondering, with the sort of the plastic iron sights, like a little something like this, looking all the way down. It is interesting that there's 2 pieces here and then like a single sight here. Pretty much looking at something like this, just for contrast. I like it actually, and because you're acknowledging the fact that as soon as the dart leaves here, it's going to start just arcing downward. There's no upkick on it like if you're playing with airsoft or paintballs or something. It is nice that instead of looking just horizontally across, you need to angle this to kind of go this way, clear for the next sight, and then actually have this angled. So you're going to be starting to get a bit of an upward arc, and that gives you a decent amount more distance. So even without attachments, this actually might function better than a scope that will just help you see straight across and things like that. But that's just like a tiny detail. And that pretty much concludes my evaluation of the Nerf Mediator. Anyway, I'll be painting this guy soon, so you might not recognize it in a short period of time. So look forward to that video, and until then, I'll see you guys next time.